Oh, are we supposed to talk?
I guess we are. We're professionals.
We're still getting used to this killer setup here.
Well, I'm looking at the countdown timer, and the countdown timer. Oh, it's counting up.
It's
now.
counting
I
up
see.
now. Okay, you dyslexic
Okay.
guy. Gee, many Christmas.
We rule. Hey, well, we are back with episode. Oh boy,
39.
we are back with episode 40.
40? Oh, this is 40.
This is 40. I am Metal Rob, and with me, as always, is the great
Carcass John.
Carcass John. And we're here in the greatness of the KVGI radio studios
Yes, we
in
are.
Frisco, Texas,
Oh,
with Monkey Butt at the helm.
and we have a special guest kind of hanging out.
We do have a special guest. My old buddy Mike is in the house today.
There you go, Mike and the house.
Yeah, say hello, Mike. He didn't say hello, Mike. He just
No, you're supposed to say hello to the mic, Mike.
So, man, you got shout outs or what's
I
going
got
on?
a shout out, and if I don't do this, then Donnell Blair is going to just come unglued. But
I ran into that dude at Death Angel.
Yep,
Yeah.
sure did. And he said you didn't have one of his CDs, and I thought, man, I thought I'd given you one.
Nope.
But anyway,
Nope.
shout out to Donnell Blair, Pass the Ammunition. He's got a killer band he's putting together, and man, the CD rips. It's surprising. It's not what you expect, and it's really killer. And they're already got a couple of songs in the tank, and they're getting ready to record another one. So
Sweet.
exciting
Nice.
stuff. So shout out to Donnell. Who else? What do you got a shout out?
I got a shout out to your very readable logo.
Yeah,
This
sorry.
week. Mayhem.
Sorry,
that was kind of a layup.
The Dark Throne one was already in the.
I'm rolling Angel Witch today.
Don't get me started.
We're gonna do a Nawabum episode, and if I need to bring in reinforcements, I will.
All right. Well, there's plenty of people that claim to be experts. You know what an expert is, right?
No.
It's a former drip under pressure.
Where's
Where's my keyboard? Where's my little toy thing?
Where's John's toy? What's the deal?
Okay.
What kind of show is this?
Boy, lacking production today. Anyhow.
Well, I want to talk about a couple of quick things before we get started. Let me go over to I have a news tab now.
Uh-oh.
I know, right?
Newsflash.
We were finding out in the last couple of days, I don't know a ton about it. I haven't watched the interview from Good Morning America, but Ozzy has some form of Parkinson's.
That is correct.
Apparently not the kind that's going to kill him, but it's going to cause him pain. And, yeah, that's a bummer to hear that. He's got a new album coming out in February, too. I'm pretty excited about.
Our buddy Greg Chasen posted a picture of Glenn Tipton and Ozzy together, and he was saying that it's just it was an awful sight to see two of his heroes with the same and a similar disease.
Yeah, and so that sucks. Shout out, good thoughts for the greatness, the Prince of Darkness himself, the great Ozzy Osbourne. I hope the best for him. Also, on a completely different note, AC/DC is going to be touring this year with Brian Johnson.
That's
a
new
album.
That's a little bit of a shock, but okay.
New album
Let's
in
hear
the
it.
February-March time frame is what I'm hearing.
What about their jailbird drummer? Is he going to be with them?
I think he is.
Holy cow!
Yeah.
Oh man.
I think it's everybody, but from the classic, the biggest classic lineup, I think, except for Malcolm, obviously.
Yeah, that liberal prison system, I guess, from the land down under. Or I think he was actually in New Zealand, wasn't he?
I don't know.
Who knows? Doesn't matter. That'd be great. Be great to see the mighty AC/DC on the road again.
Yeah, but I'm gonna end the news on a high note here. I went and saw a band this past week. And
here it comes.
I know, man. I'm stoked about this. And I don't know how I'm going to be able to show this well enough that anybody can see it.
Oh.
So
we'll vouch for it.
So I've been trying to start this kind of love affair with the band Lucifer. I bought the first album and I liked it okay. And I bought the second album. I'd seen their videos for California Sun and Dreamer, and I was like, man, this is really great. It's kind of a Heart meets Black Sabbath sort of a thing. It's got a good 70s throwback vibe. And so they were coming to town. I was like, I'm going. I'd never been to Three Link, so I was there with 80 or 100 of my closest friends, and Lucifer played. But not to be outdone, a band from New York City called Overdose that you've got to check out, dude. They
I'll
don't
check
have
'em
any.
out.
They don't have a release yet, but I found them on Facebook, and I am stoked about this. It is the rock and roll side of Motorhead, man. It is energetic and killer twin leads. I mean, those dudes brought it. It was really, really good. So they're going to stay on my radar. But
Okay,
let's get to
and then after that, who played?
Savage Master,
And
Lucifer.
Okay.
And I went straight into 15, 16-year-old Rob mode because it's one of those deals where when you've seen as many bands as we've seen and you've gone to, a billion shows, nobody's gone to as many shows as you.
At least 10 billion.
10
With
right,
a B.
right. I've been to 1 billion, but you lose the starstruck thing. You just don't get starstruck that much anymore, especially in a big venue.
You realize they're just people.
Right. But
And- we're looking at a star over here, and he's just a person.
Right.
We're just hanging out with, a guy that's been around the world several times,
Many
played
times.
the Warp Tour, and written great songs.
Headlined Warp Tour, did you not?
Didn't he write
Yeah.
the opening riff there? Was that him?
Oh my God! Yes.
See?
Yes.
Man, the
yes.
guy's a superstar.
You know what that music is?
Is that the Monster Truck Wizard?
It's unused Monster Truck Wizard
Man,
demos.
there you go. See?
Yeah.
We're surrounded by the stars. It's like being
He
in...
sleeps on a pile of cash from the royalties.
That's right. I bet he
Yeah.
does.
So Lucifer comes on.
Yes.
I lost my train of thought
Yeah.
there for a second. I got distracted with Monster Truck Wizard talk. So, and I had the total starstruck thing because, and I didn't realize until just a few days before the show that the drummer is also the singer, guitar player of the Helicopters.
And
I didn't know that.
one of the founders of
Entombed.
the mighty Entombed.
I did not know any
Yes.
of this. So anyway, I'm watching the videos and I'm listening to the songs and I'm honestly trying to do my homework a little bit so I'll know some songs when I go see these guys. Because I've worn out their videos and that was the majority of my viewing and listening pleasure. And of course, the singer, I mean, she's not terrible either. I mean, she's a pretty girl and she can sing and I was stoked. So I go and there they are. And it's just like, oh my God, I can't believe it. She's right there and he's right there. And then they've got these other dudes in the band and they were just killing it, man, just killing it. And so I had the total teenager at a show vibe going and I'm kind of freaking out and having trouble standing still, and she's got a fantastic stage presence and her voice was in top form. I was really blown away. So then I waited till after the show was over and I had to wait a good little while. And then, yay, you can't see that, but here, I'll hold it up to the car.
Uh-oh, yeah. Oh, there. Oh, look at that.
See that, kids?
Oh, man.
Oh, yay. Isn't that sweet?
Metal Rob.
Oh, man. Hang on. And then,
Oh,
yay, Helicopters, man.
Nicky Anderson.
Yeah.
Great drummer. Good guy, too.
Yeah, I was stoked.
Funny story, though, about Lucifer. When I was in Amsterdam with the great Amy Lenore, we hit a few record stores. Shocking, I know.
Hello, Amy.
And you're in Amsterdam, and you're going to a record store. But I found this real '60s looking record called Lucifer, and it had a very pretty blonde girl as the lead singer. Anyway,
Different Lucifer.
it turns out they're like ABBA, and I'm thinking that the Lucifer you're talking about is nothing like
Not
ABBA.
like ABBA.
No.
No, it was great, man. I'm telling you, it was one of those things where I felt like I'd kind of discovered a band, before they were massive and bought their albums and checked them out and then got to see them because I don't know if they come to the States that often, but it was really awesome to see them in that little club. And Three Links was a cool place I'd never been before. So shout out to Three Links and Deep Ellum.
Yeah, cool place, good sound system,
Yeah.
good, nice staff.
Yeah, it sounded great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I recorded a video on my phone, just to capture the the moment a little bit of their last couple songs, because they closed with Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers.
Oh, wow.
And then their hit song, or their song for the video, California Sun.
Right.
And it was awesome. So, man, if you haven't checked out Lucifer, definitely check them out. So in the course of the next few months, I will see Lucifer and Satan. I'm going to see Satan on my 50th birthday.
I can't even speak to that, so I won't. But I know our buddies from Blood of the Sun toured with them over in Europe this last tour when they were over there playing Rockplost and some of the other shows, and they just said that it was a phenomenal draw and it was great to have extra people in the room.
I don't want this to be playing audio.
You shouldn't have the audio playing over the audio.
I know. I stood next to for the entirety of the show, pretty much. Oh, Richie says I'm still an idiot. Thank you very much.
Well, Richie would know. He's known you longer than I have.
Stood next to the great Sean Vargas.
Okay, great.
Frontman of Blood of the Sun. Saw the great Henry Vasquez and the lovely Krista along with him.
Yeah.
That was cool to see them.
Sounds like a great crowd of the
Casey Orr was there.
Casey Orr?
Yeah, I stayed out of his way. I didn't want to get eaten by him or anything. But
by Ignis Enormous or whatever his Guar stage name is. Or
I don't. What is
enigmatic?
What was Casey? Beefcake the Mighty, right?
Oh, he is Beefcake. That's right.
I think Casey's Beef. Yeah,
but he's also the bass player for
Rigor Mortis.
Rigor Mortis.
Yes.
Did a stint in War Beast for a while.
Yeah,
Guy's
yeah.
been around the block.
It was cool to see a bunch of dudes around, and then there was a guy from.
And they were just people, right? They were just
yeah. Everybody was fantastic. Oh my gosh. Oh, there was a dude from Archie Bunker there.
Whoa. there's a blast from the past.
One of the dudes from Archie Bunker and I
remind me to let you hear those demos that never came out. I've got some demos from the Hammer.
Well, before I get us completely derailed here, let's get on to the topic.
We are derailed.
We are derailed, but that's kind of what we do around here.
Because you're fanboying Lucifer.
That's right. It was awesome, dude. I loved it. Don't get me started again, or I'll talk for another 30 minutes. Oh, one last Lucifer comment.
Gee whiz.
I bought the shirt, so I buy the shirt, and I get the shirt home, and it goes down like mid thigh. It's more of a Lucifer skirt, actually.
Well, you could maybe put a belt around the middle and kind of maybe a pair of high heels. Fairies wear boots, according to Ozzy.
Could cinch it or belt it. Yeah.
Yeah. Fairies wear boots, and you gotta believe me.
I
saw it with my own two eyes.
Yeah. I think you're walking on thin ice, PC-wise there, Carcass.
Right, sorry. Hey, I didn't say there was anything wrong with it.
No.
Let's not get started on the Japanese pressing episode.
Yeah. So, episode 40, we're going to talk about our favorite, and John brought 87 things, so I better let him start talking soon.
I cut it down.
Thank you.
I cut it down to
kind of like when you read a list of 56 of your favorite live albums.
Right. And unlike Big Orange, I didn't want to build the wall. I didn't know that you were illegal or not. So
I talk about like 6 or 8 albums, and John's got a legal pad out, filled every line, and he flips the page.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude.
Well, you said good live albums. I just want to, educate
Well, you listed them all.
Yeah, I certainly did.
All right, so we're going to talk about our favorite hard rock and heavy metal documentaries. Now, this is not necessarily concert films,
right?
And it's not music movies,
right.
But
and I think sometimes when we see stuff like this, we think, oh, we're going to get a lot of live footage, but really, you have to read the fine print,
right? Yeah, these are
because I'll just start. Let's see, where are we? Oh gosh, I thought I was all organized. No, I'm not. Like this, we'll just start with this. Immortalized. It's basically the earache years, and there is some live footage. They do grant you the opportunity to see live footage from Morbid Angel and Cathedral, Napalm Death, Entombed. Thank you, Nikki. Iron Monkey at the gates. Anyway, this is really cool because it gives you a little blurb on the band. It lists their discography, and then it lets them rip on a song. So that's kind of a crossover. That's like a DRI style of documentary because it gives you the best of both worlds. Here's one that they don't even get you out of the parking lot. but it's a documentary. It's the Judas Priest parking lot DVD. So there's no real music except for what people are blasting out of their 68 Pontiac GTOs out of those Jensen 6x9s and the Pioneer Super Tuner. And so this is a really cool video, and it just basically are people walking around with a camera talking about how they're going to go see Priest and how excited they are. And I don't see that type of enthusiasm, although at the Southside Ballroom with the razor violence, that whole the carcass and so forth, man, there were some excited people there to see. They had driven a long way to see them, so that's kind of cool. What do you got? What do you
I've
got?
seen that. It's pretty funny. I think it misrepresents us as a fan base to some extent. But my favorite part of the whole thing is when the guy's talking about, man, that Robert Halford, he's so bad. I bet he gets all the chicks. And I'm like, I don't think you've been reading the words to the songs,
and
Chief.
you haven't been looking at his style and where he shops. No, I thought this was you right here in the zebra striped shirt. That's before that's when you still had hair. But
oh, Lord.
That's you.
That is not me.
Except and there's a Dawkins patch over there on the other side, or a Tiger Tails. I couldn't remember.
Shut up. Tiger Tails. Get out of here.
Okay. So what do you got over there?
Okay, well, you're going to know a little more about this than I will, but from a little bit of a local flavor, we have got Welcome to Your Funeral, the story of Rigor Mortis, Part 1, beginning to 1987. Now, the cool thing about this was I knew about Rigor Mortis, and I had heard some of their stuff. I wasn't what you would have called, I wasn't in the know. I don't want to say I wasn't a fan. It wasn't like that, but I just didn't know a ton about them because, like you said, I liked a lot of hair metal and, Rat and Motley Crue and shit like that. And, but what this did for me, I bought this over at Born Late in Fort Worth from the great Henry Vasquez. What this did was catch me up on all things Rigor Mortis up to their signing on Capitol, right?
Yes.
Yes. And so this was brilliant.
Yeah, the thing is it's not, if there's just people talking and it doesn't sound like it would be very exciting, but the way it's made,
absolutely,
it's like us. We're just hanging out talking about this thing. Phil Anselmo interjects his deal because he was right smack in the middle of this this thing, and Pantera versus Rigor Mortis was a big deal. And when Rigor got signed and Pantera was still doing pool parties playing Cinderella cover tunes,
right?
That didn't feel so great. And I remember Bruce talking about when the Dallas Observer would pick the metal band of the year, and it was always the battle between Rigor and Pantera, and Rigor seemed to always win. However, and they got signed first,
right?
And it was a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel fortunate that I was able to do the cover. This was 4 or 5 years in the making, and there's a ton of history. And I know that there are copies available. Does Gina still have copies?
I don't know.
But I bet Henry does, or Gina, or we can find copies. But if anybody wants a copy of a very, very well put together documentary on a killer band,
right?
There it is right there. And they talk about recording, and they talk about demo tapes, and they talk about
getting introduced to the guy at Capitol, the
right.
whole bit.
All
yeah,
the back and forth, the big check that they got. And they were, the record company was a little disappointed that they only sold 180,000 records. And I'm like,
God, now that's platinum.
Yeah.
So,
but that's a killer documentary. There was actually a part 2 that's still kind of floating out there. I've actually done the cover for it already.
Yeah.
And it talks about life after the first record, and things got a little muddled.
Yeah.
But it's very honest, believe me. No punches were pulled.
No.
And animals might have been hurt while this was made.
It's great, man.
Yeah, it's an awesome documentary.
Yep. Very solid. I give it high marks.
High marks.
All the way around. Loved it. What have you got next?
Well, this is one of my favorite. Get Thrashed, the story of thrash metal. Man, if you're into, especially the Bay Area scene, that's where they kind of focus. But thrash, back before the internet, you just sort of had to know someone that knew somebody, And I used to travel to the West Coast all the time, and I got to see. In fact, as we were reminiscing about the violence reunion, we were kind of ha-haing about the fact that I'd seen them in a place called the Stone that was about as big as this room, and it was Testament, Exodus, a young Death Angel with like a 15-year-old drummer, and Violence, just out for a Friday night show at the Stone. And it would be likened to at Three Links,
Right.
not a very big venue at all, but it talks about the creation of thrash, kind of based on punk, and thrash and punk sort of gathered their masses together in a weird kind of way because they were both played fast. Thrash was a little more melodic, and this, as well, in my opinion, and as most people know, thrash was kind of the precursor to death metal, which I also brought a documentary on death metal.
Hey, Carcass is going to talk about death metal.
And I'm just saying.
Raise your hand if you're
I'm
shocked.
just saying that this one preceded this one, but they sort of go hand in hand.
Right.
But they're both excellent. They're both well made. And if you want to get an introduction to thrash, which is one of my favorite genres of metal,
yes,
man, Get Thrashed is awesome.
Yeah, this is a great doc.
Yeah,
very, very well done.
There's interviews and a few quick blurbs of music that'll just whet your palate, and man, it is really, really, really killer.
Cool. We both brought stuff. You brought Metal: A Headbanger's Journey,
right,
and I brought Metal Evolution.
These sort of go hand in hand.
Definitely.
This is kind of like the Reader's Digest version of that.
Yes.
But they're both really great.
So this is all Sam Dunn produced stuff on Banger Films, and I don't think he's done an episode that I didn't like of anything.
Nope.
A documentary, an episode of this series, everything he's done is just top notch. And I like this because he goes through all the genres and it captures the whole series. You'd think with my glasses I could read that. 11 episodes, and it covers, the prehistory of metal, early metal, new wave British heavy metal that we will cover more in depth with somebody that's interested.
With all the experts.
Glam metal, thrash metal, grunge, new metal, shock rock, power metal, progressive metal. It's just fantastic. And this is a 10 out of 10. It's top-notch production.
Yeah.
Everything that they got on here is just
In
amazing.
fact, our lawyer friend, Brett, asked me what I would, I said, tell me what I should be doing with my life. And he wrote on a sticky note, music. And I should have just told him, I want to be Sam Dunn. I want to go travel the world, listen to bands, interview bands, and put together something that good.
Yeah, I would say he's done well for himself.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, let's cover, I know we've got some stuff in that's the same. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, it's, since we're in Canada, since
yes.
Sam is Canadian, the Anvil story is unbelievable, really, if you think about it. It's kind of sad, but you talk about how great or how far the great have fallen. I mean, the Scorpions were opening for Anvil at one point in time, and then fast forward to 5 or 6 years into the future, and they're serving lunches at a junior high school.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, bad management, terrible merch, terrible this, that, and the other, but their albums are killer. They have great riffs. They actually did kind of when they put this out, they were on kind of like a reunion tour.
Yep.
And they were freaking awesome. The new record was freaking awesome. But Anvil, I mean, had it right there in the palm of their hand. And
metal on metal is what I crave.
You
hear that, Mike?
I bet it was. But if you better bring a box of Kleenex, because it's pretty sad at the end.
It is.
And but great guys, great production, and man, the music is so awesome.
Yeah, this was produced by VH1, and it's fantastic. But it talks about these two 14-year-old kids that, hey, we're going to be buddies and we're going to dedicate our life to metal.
And there you have it.
And they have.
And the road was rocky, and the road was steep, and sometimes
I think they're working on a new record. But I follow Rob on Facebook, and he's posting and drumming and playing all the time.
Yeah.
So they're doing it, man.
Gotta love Anvil. They're a great band.
What else you got over there, Killer?
Well,
Hey, the Carcass is going to talk about grindcore.
I'm gonna talk about grindcore. You know what that is? Anyway, I'm telling you,
I do know what that
if
is.
you watch this, you would dig it because it has. In fact, I'm looking at this. There's my friend Dave of Death from PLF, and also of Oath of Cruelty. He did a stint in Morbosi Dodd, but look what shirt he's wearing. Rigor mortis, baby.
Nice.
So there. Shout out to Dave Collier. What a great guy and he is a riff writing son of a gun. And but this thing,
I need to borrow this.
This thing is so well put together, and it talks about the early days of grind, including our buddy's Napalm Death. You remember when you saw Napalm for the first time? I said, Rob, these guys are gonna blow your mind, and you're gonna love Barney. And at the end of their set, what did you say?
They ruled.
They were awesome.
They killed it, man.
And his onstage banter is second to none.
That's not as good as his onstage just moves.
Oh.
The
swatting flies?
Oh my gosh, yes, I cannot handle it. And he's up there in his sweatband and his gym shorts and just crushing your soul.
And he's a whale of a nice guy. He was actually at that Southside Power Trip ball, the Southside Ballroom thing. He was actually there wandering around. I guess he was hanging out with his buddy's Carcass. He and Bill Steer
I definitely
go
need to
way,
borrow
way,
this.
way back.
I'm asking you on the air.
Yes.
Can I borrow this?
Yes, you can.
Thank
Just
you.
bring it back because they're sold out and hard to find.
Okay, I'll bring it
But
back.
it's got little moments with a ton of the early bands, including the Mighty Carcass and Repulsion and some others, and it's fantastic, man. Even if you're not a grindcore fan, see, that's how you know, I think, if it's a great documentary or not. If you're not really into the genre or really into the subject matter per se, but you enjoyed what you watched,
right.
well, that's that right
Well,
there.
and that's the thing. I mean, I watched a documentary last night on Clarence Clemens. I don't care anything about Bruce Springsteen
Boy, neither do I, but
saxophone playing, but it was a fantastic doc. So to your point, yes, absolutely,
then you're gonna love that.
A well done doc is a well done doc, and I like this. I like this enough to be interested, even if it wasn't a well done doc. I know
because you want to.
I don't know a ton about grindcore.
Why I'm
but
so demented and listen to that stuff? Gee whiz! I know my mom and dad are probably asking this.
What else you got over there?
Well, as we've mentioned, we talked about our. Someone sent me one of those. What are the albums that had a great impact on you? Well, this was the first album I bought as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I bought Black Sabbath Paranoid, and VH1 puts this out too.
Classic album series.
Yeah, and this is a very, very interesting take on the second Black Sabbath record. I love the first one, but this thing has some interesting moments about it, and once again, it's so well crafted, and they tease you with just enough of the music that you go grab the record and you put it on, which is exactly what I did.
Now, I noticed you brought that one from the classic album series, but not the Def Leppard Hysteria.
No, I left that one at home.
Oh, okay.
I left my hairspray at home too,
but you brought your grindcore.
Yes, I did.
But not okay.
Yeah, left the Def Leppard. Sorry, Tiger Tales doesn't have a documentary, do they? Never mind. Okay, well, as you know, that
you didn't bring the Bang Tango documentary.
No. Poser Mark stole it from me. Anyway, one of my favorite bands is Deep Purple.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this thing, you talk about going through the history of a band, and we know that they've had a multiplicity of lineups. Well, this goes through every lineup, talks about each player, and gives you a little snippet of some music that they've played.
I'm still stuck on multiplicity.
You like that? What was the other word that I used? You're probably still.
You like juxtaposition.
Oh, juxtaposition. I do like that one.
Go ahead, please.
But anyway,
you're doing great.
But this goes through all the lineups, and it has a snippet of music from each of the lineups, and then it gives a little background on albums and so forth. And like they've got a live show from Leeds Polytechnic Student Project in '74. I mean, who has that? But that's yeah, I do. But it's very cool. And this, once again, it's amazing what you can do with a little money. There's 3 discs in here.
Hello, Eddie.
Or 2 discs, and it's 287 minutes of Deep Purple, and there's not 1 minute of boring there. It's all greatness.
We've got some friends from down south watching. Fast Eddie's watching.
Yeah, Fast Eddie.
Fraser Ian Dawson is watching.
Yes.
He's going to tell us to recognize.
He's going to recognize and get some new wave of British heavy metal going on here, boys.
Can I borrow this?
Go ahead. You can borrow that.
Thank you.
I know where you live. I'm not afraid about. I'm not worried about getting it back. So do you want me just to keep going and just finish my stack, or what do you want?
Well, we'll come up to this one at the end, but yeah,
Okay.
go ahead with that one.
All right. Well, I know that's not heavy metal, but this is one of my favorite bands and one of my most influential records.
I'm surprised you didn't bring an Osric Tentacles documentary. But I bet you have one.
I have tons of Osric live stuff, but I don't have a documentary per se, although they did Live at the Pong Masters Ball, and it's got like
see,
a
here
little,
we go.
it's got a little commentary on it.
Osric.
But I've actually set up my upstairs room as a speaker listening room. I have 5 different sets of speakers set up, and I actually have that playing, so I didn't bring it with me. But Pink Floyd, I know everyone loves Dark Side of the Moon. I know Poser Mark loves metal. He thinks that's his favorite. Adam Hart Mother. I love Wish You Were Here. And the story behind that, this was as the band was starting to fracture. Of course, they had this wild success with Dark Side of the Moon, and they were hustled into the studio to try and put something together. And these guys were at 4 different places at the same time, always, because they just couldn't stand each other. And they were trying to put this thing together. And this was the result, and this tells the story of that, and it's really, really interesting. And once again, I watched it, and even if you're not interested in Pink Floyd,
how do I not know about these?
I don't know, man.
Can I borrow this?
Yeah, go ahead. Do you want to here? Do you want to just take
just
the
push
stack?
the whole stack? No, I'm good.
Okay,
I've seen all of that except the Immortalized,
which is pretty cool. Here, just take it.
Sorry, I interrupted you. No, please carry on.
No, that's fine. The thing is that's how we they were talking on the local sports talk radio station today about the passing of Neil Peart, and how they how everyone seemed so connected, and they were devastated when I heard the news. I admit I shed a tear when I heard that of his passing.
I was pretty bummed.
It was devastating, and especially someone who was trying to play and emulate the way he played the drums, which is
impossible.
That's a pipe dream, as my grandfather would say. But you feel a special connection to them, and when you see the documentary part, it's like home movies. You're looking into their inner soul because you're seeing them not just up on stage, but you're seeing a more personalized side of them. You see them eating a sandwich while they're recording, or you see them on the bus just hanging out, having a beer or doing whatever. And so it almost makes you like you're just part of the family.
Right.
And so I think that's why people get really invested, especially in bands that, shall we say, the super group of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so I've talked a lot.
Well,
time for you to talk.
Well, I want to go through a couple of things here because we're going to have a couple of bands that I'm going to cover with a couple of different things, and then we'll get onto that one.
Metallica.
Y'all like Metallica?
Are they any good?
Metallica. I got that from you. Thank you very much. So, Metallica has had a couple of great documentaries, in my opinion.
Some kind of monster.
This is
creepy.
This is one of them. I love Cliff 'Em All. I love everything about it because this takes me through the Metallica that I love the most, which is like albums 1 through 3 or 4. Freaking love it. Lots of Cliff footage because it's kind of an homage to Cliff.
And rest in peace, his dad passed away this week.
Absolutely, yeah. But I freaking love this because it's everything from videotape, video camera stuff to pro shot overseas stuff to, man, it's just really cool. Lots of good footage, and you get to hear Lars introduce himself and say that he plays drums and bongs. Yeah. So anyway,
don't get me started. This is really reminiscent with the weird VHS footage and the kind of the shaky camera thing.
Mm-hmm.
I almost brought a Beastie Boys DVD. I almost did. Now listen to me. Hey, who plays lead on? hey, who plays the lead on We Got the Right to Party or whatever that is? Okay, if that's not metal.
Wait a minute. We
got the right.
Everybody in here is laughing at you.
I'm sorry.
We got the.
I'm getting ahead of myself because you're ticking me off.
Party for your right to fight.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Who did the lead guitar on that?
No.
No.
You're not getting out of this.
No, okay.
What did you say?
Well, you know what I mean. Anyway,
I've already forgotten what
that's
you said.
not
now.
what I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about the different cameras stuff. The Beastie Boys did a show in New York, and they
Kerry King did the solo.
Yes, he did. And if that's not metal enough for you, I'm sorry. You need to look in the mirror, buddy. My dad always said when something doesn't feel right in the world, man, start by looking in the mirror. He didn't say man, but anyway.
Will you please go back and say what you said again?
No, I'm not going to say it because I screwed up. I fully admit it. I admit my mistakes.
Petition for your right to party.
Petitioning for a right to party.
Oh my gosh!
Hey, I don't care. I don't care what I said. Kerry King did the lead. Anyway,
he did. You're right.
But the Beastie Boys did something really creative. They handed a camera to everybody that came to the show. 20,000 cameras or 15,000 cameras, and they were selfieing. They were talking about their songs, and then they would show the performance, and they had it all spliced and clipped together, and it was kind of cool.
That's pretty cool.
So that was what this spurned because it's got a lot of that weird, rough, raw, shaky camera stuff and stills and so forth. But anyway.
Yeah, I dig it just because there's so much home movie element to it. It's really cool. But if there's anybody that's been living under a rock for the past 30 plus years that doesn't know anything about Metallica, you need this. And you need to watch Some Kind of Monster.
Hey, wasn't the Black Album the first? That was your first one, right? Metallica,
yeah.
Self-titled. That's what you do.
That's right.
Your first album's always self-titled.
Oh, that's mine. Give me that.
I don't want that. I've got that.
With the snake on the front. Don't it have a snake on it or something?
Got a snake on it.
I got that tattooed on my bottom.
It's the you said bottom.
Bottom. All right, so we're gonna move on to something that I finished. I watched it over the last couple of nights. And I'm going to put this up here with your book.
Oh, yeah, there.
Your ginormous Book of Souls. Sorry, let me get on the mic and talk. I have not seen the R40 stuff. I've seen this. I've watched this several times. This documentary is probably the one I've watched the most times. I've probably seen it 6 or 8 times. 10 out of 10. This is a top-notch documentary, also done by Banger Films. And it goes up through vapor trails, I think. But holy cow, is this thing good. Talks about day one up through vapor trails, and it's fantastic. Have you seen it?
I agree. It's killer. It's Rush. I love don't they have where they're doing a session in that little studio that's out in the middle of nowhere in the forest?
Mm-hmm.
Was that the Hemispheres thing or
I can't remember.
Farewell to Kings? And I thought, man, that is so killer that they're just out in this solitude of
Le Studio.
Le
I think
Studio.
is what it was called.
But
talk
anyway,
about your R40 book.
Man, this was a special thing from Best Buy when they actually used to sell music. They don't anymore, by the way, kids. Sorry. Only online. And they sell a download. Anyway, this is a 6 Blu-ray set plus a DVD of the very first time they played at a high school gym somewhere in Canada. And it's got 2 hours of unreleased footage. It's got 40 years of Rush Live. And it's got songs from every album. And it's got a ton of unreleased and rare content, interviews, bus rides, tours, ha-has, jokes on tour. But it's got Rush and Rio, which we're all familiar with. Here's the live show at the high school gym. But it's got the R30 set. It's got Clockwork Angels. This thing is so killer.
Packed.
And guess how much it was? How much would you pay for something like this? But wait, there's more. There's the Black Sabbath Paranoid. This was $90.
I like Salesman John.
This was $89, and I thought, okay, if I'm buying a Blu-ray and there's 6 of them, they're what, 12, 15, 20 by so at $80 plus the book and the DVD.
And
thought,
you get the Best Buy hype sticker. Don't
and
forget that.
and you notice that yes, I'm one of those guys. I put the Best Buy hype sticker right on there
Heck
because
yeah, it's because you're a winner.
doesn't that make it more valuable? But this thing has got it's got ticket stubs, it's got rare pictures of them as kids. They did an ad for a laundromat, and they've got that in here. It's just insane. And if you can find one of these, and I don't know if they're gettable because my understanding is they did 2,000 of them, and basically they were gone. I almost bought a second one, but I didn't.
I know they're harder to find, that's for sure.
And you told me you just gave one away.
I did. I gave one to the great Robin Taylor.
Okay, well that's understandable, and I'll give you a hall pass on that.
I know that we're still fresh on the heels of the passing of Neil, but it was really cool to revisit this and just see what great guys they were. And Gene Simmons talked about, they'd be backstage and talking about Kiss and all this debauchery was going on, and Rush is in their rooms reading books.
Or
having a sandwich, writing poetry,
drinking wine, and eating cheese.
Yeah, and it was just like they were just normal, nice guys that struck, and that was awesome. And I had forgotten that this talked quite a bit at the beginning about John Rutsey, because I've always been fascinated with John Rutsey, and he just died a few years ago. I didn't realize that. I thought he died young for some reason. I don't know why I thought that, but he
now he was really, really sick, but it was by his own doing. He had alcohol poisoning, and he had some pretty bad habits that just sort of kept him off the road. And I guess he just walked in one day and just said, "I'm not going to do this anymore."
No, it was I can't remember. They just talked about it, but they spent some time talking about John Rutsey, the guy that played on the first album, and they just needed to get a new dude, and
in walked Neil Peart, and he
changed the band forever.
And he said, "Oh, by the way, I write some lyrics too."
Yeah, very articulate, well spoken. Just change the.
But you know what I discovered about that? That I didn't have as much of an appreciation for John Rutsey. I mean, that first album is killer, and if you listen to his playing is very credible. And I know we've had this discussion about who's better, and Paul Bostoff and against Dave Lombardo or whatever. I mean, I know Neil Peart made John Rutsey sound even better, because when they would play those songs live with Neil Peart, it sounded better.
Well, you've got a rock and roll drummer versus the greatest drummer,
the most intricate
on the planet,
yeah,
that came along. I mean, they changed. The first album was Rush, but Neil changed them into being Rush. That that was a rock and roll band with their first album out.
So would you?
And then Neil came along, literally changed the face.
So
of the
with
band.
the personality of going from straight up rock and roll, AOR rock, to what Rush became, could we liken that into what maybe Phil Anselmo did to Pantera?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
They went from a Dawkins knockoff to
a dock off, if you will.
He said it. I didn't.
What?
Did
you hear that?
I'm seeing shoulders.
Thank you.
I'm seeing shoulders bounce. I'm seeing production people, and their shoulders are just bouncing.
I think Mark's about to pull the plug on us. Yeah.
He's like, how do I get away with this? Anyway.
Well, I saved this for last intentionally.
Okay.
If there is, like I said before, if there's somebody out there that didn't know about Metallica, if there is anybody out there that needs an introduction to Iron Maiden, or you want the full view of Iron Maiden, you want to dig deep, and you're like, I don't know where to start. Maybe you're younger and you're getting into metal, getting into vinyl collecting, whatever the case may be. Two things you need to get. You need to get Iron Maiden the early years.
Yep.
On DVD, which is starting to get hard to find, and you cannot borrow mine. This takes you up through the mid 80s.
Now, did I hear this right? I saw a documentary last night on HD TV, and it was about the British metal, or the onset of how metal became what it was. And I don't think Paul Di'Anno was the first singer, was he? He was the
I
first
think
singer?
he was there a guy before him?
I think there was a guy before him, and before they all
We'll settle this right
put
now.
it together. Yeah, they were from different. Steve Harris is the only constant, I think, in that band, because everyone thinks Nickel Brain's the original drummer, and Clive Burr was there before he was. So
Did they have a dude that did demos before?
I don't know, but they talked about the Roundhouse demo. See, we need a
He was on the Roundhouse tapes.
We need a documentary to tell us, and you too can learn about Iron Maiden and the early years.
Oh, I looked up Iron Maiden on Wikipedia, and it took me to a freaking, not to be confused with the Maiden guillotine. Stupid.
Oh, the door that shuts with the spikes in it, and
yeah.
Vincent Price
Iron
would
Maiden
be proud of
English
you.
heavy metal band. Let's look up that one.
How about that one?
Okay, here we go. Little production value for you guys. We're gonna go to because I think you're onto something, but I don't know that.
But see, because of a documentary, I heard this and I thought, wait a minute. I thought Diano was the first guy, but then they're telling me no, there was someone prior to that.
No, it was Paul.
Okay.
I thought maybe there was somebody for like a minute.
Oh, you know what?
But
I
no.
think that was Judas Priest. There was somebody before.
Al Atkins.
Yeah, there was some, and he quit the band. He said, "Yeah, but you can still use the name." Wow, what a nice guy. Hey, thanks a lot, Al.
Yeah. Get these, kids. Iron Maiden, the early years. This takes you through the mid '80s. If you want to see part 2 of the early years, it's on the Live After Death DVD,
Oh, okay.
which is also good.
Hmm.
Fantastic. One of our top live albums. I'm sure it was on your list of 87 albums that you read that day.
Yeah, it was 86.
But then get this. If you want to know what the life of touring Iron Maiden is like in the past 10 years or so, they own the plane. They fly the freaking plane.
Yeah.
All the gears on it. This is just amazing. Also done by Banger Films, which is...
Is that the one that talks about how they built these special cases that fit form fit into the fuselage?
Yep.
And they're all organized? Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yep.
All right.
This is an amazing documentary, and it takes you around the world on Ed Force One on tour with Iron Maiden.
Wow.
And these are my number one favorite documentaries. They're kind of tied.
And what did Rolling Stone say? Oh, Bob Dylan. I'm sorry.
I don't think they even... No Iron Maiden made the Rolling Stone list.
Oh gosh. Well, that should tell you all you need to know about Rolling Stone.
But what did
magazine.
make it at number 11, and then we'll wrap this up, is The Decline of Western Civilization Part 2, The Metal Years.
Which is freaking awesome.
Freaking amazing.
Yep.
And I don't own it. I need to.
And
if you want to see...
I was telling you I had the tape.
That's the picture that they're using for The Decline of Western Civilization. You can't see that.
That is a very scary picture of Kiss.
Scary picture of Kiss, yes.
What is that, Asylum?
No, Vinny was in the band, so that's got to be Creatures of the Night or Look It Up.
Oh, there you go, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, The Decline of Western Civilization just tells you...
Boy, that says it all right there.
It really does.
I got to admit it.
It really does. Penelope Spheris...
yeah, that says it all.
This is from RollingStone.com. Penelope Spheris' first Decline of Western Civilization captured the ragged desperation and willful poverty of LA's hardcore bands in '81, but the metal years showed what happens when the same types of musicians got a little money, a lot of drugs, gallons of hairspray. Wasp guitarist Chris Holmes steals the show by drunkenly floating in a swimming pool while arguing with his mom, but jaw-dropping scenes of Ozzy cooking breakfast in a leopard print robe and Kiss Paul Stanley flanked in bed with scantily clad women also helped the film live up to its decline title. Sadly, the film remains unavailable on Blu-ray and DVD. Oh, I didn't know that for the moment, so YouTube is still the best way to see it.
There you go.
So that was from RollingStone.com. But anyway, that kind of wraps up our top favorite list of hard rock and heavy metal documentaries with a smattering of Pink Floyd.
Okay. Well, there's sort of... They were metal, M-E-D-D-L-E. Sorry, that's...
Oh, man. Do you see what I'm putting up with?
See, I need my little... I know. My toy.
Monkey butt.
My little laptop thing.
See if we got any shout-outs.
Some on YouTube. Cool. Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Papa Wayne.
Yeah.
H-Town representing Stevie Ray Vaughan's biggest fan.
Oh, yeah.
on the local radio.
Yeah. Spicoli's on Reckless Rock Radio on KNON.
There you go.
What's that?
Oh.
Oh, yay.
Oh,
What did she say? I want a divorce. I can't take this crap anymore. Okay.
Beastie Boys thing when John was talking about
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Please, what did he say? I can't even remember. It knocked the.
I'll definitely say petition for your right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I could. Oh, I can't wait to rewatch this episode. Anyway,
Fight for your right, okay?
anyway, tell us what you think about your favorite documentaries listed in the comments. As always, what we would love you to do, we'd like you to like the KVGI radio page. We'd like you to share the KVGI radio page, share the Metal Roundtable page on YouTube and Facebook.
And tell all your friends.
Please tell all your friends so you can hear Carcass use words like gesticulate and
Juxtaposition.
And what was the
and
one?
multiplicity.
Multiplicity. That's right.
And as our friend Dennis from Metalheads Records would say, tell your friends to listen to some real metal.
That's right.
Including real metal documentaries.
That's right. Well, that is it for episode 40 of the Metal Roundtable, and we love you so much. Please like us and share us and love on us and all those things in the social media way that only you can do. Thanks to Monkey Butt, as always, for twisting and tweaking and producing, Thanks to the great Mike Griffin for sitting in.
There you go. Boom. A
And
superstar.
Superstar.
Sitting on a pile of Benjamins.
That's right. Until episode 41, we'll see you next time. And metal
will prevail.